Israel has pioneered a new type of all-seeing precision weapon, the armed drone. The capabilities of this hunter-killer, which can track a person walking along a street, then strike with precision, are a military secret. To use these weapons against civilians is a war crime. But a Guardian investigation has uncovered evidence from the Israeli military themselves that proves just how clearly these weapons can see. So why did one of these drones kill an entire family having tea in their courtyard? Why did these hunter-killers target a group of women and girls walking down the street holding a white flag? Nearly 1,400 Palestinians were killed in the attack on Gaza. More than half were civilians. 431 of them were children. 6 members of Munir's family were killed by an armed drone. They were having tea in their courtyard when they saw a drone in the sky above, watching them. Then it fired.
ايش انضرب الصاروخ، ايش كتلة نار اجت من هاي من الجهة هاي هيك نزلت، فبعد شوي لما بيطلعوا هلا هو محمد هنا مقطع نصين، احمد تلت نصاص، وحيد كله محروق عينين ما فيش، ابو وحيد هنا عبارة عن كتلة، البنت نور فيش لها راسها، راسها يعني تقريبا مش مبين.
Fatia is Munir's niece. Her mother, father and 4 siblings were killed in the attack.
يعني مستعد يقطع يعني أخويا محمد رحت أحمله منتف لحم. مقبرة بنزور بيتنا زي مقبرة ومعدين نزور اللي فيها.
The Guardian spent 3 weeks in Gaza investigating why so many civilians and children were killed in the 23-day siege. Were they all cases of mistaken identity? This internal Israeli magazine, obtained by The Guardian, contains eyewitness reports from Israeli soldiers who fought in the conflict. When we investigated further, we found this interview in the magazine's online version, Shavuz. The man quoted is a serving drone operator from the latest offensive. He describes just how clearly these drones can see.
We identified a terrorist that looked like an Israeli soldier. Our camera enabled us to see him very clearly. He was wearing a green parka jacket and he was walking around with a huge radio that looked exactly like an army radio. He was wearing an army helmet and he was ducking down with a weapon close to the wall wearing black trousers. It was very clear he wasn't a soldier.
Former British artillery commander, Major Chris Cobb-Smith, has 30 years' experience in the world's worst combat zones. He visited the family during his work with Amnesty investigating war crimes.
Why did we see so much indiscriminate killing of the civilian population? And I think questions have got to be asked and investigations have got to be done as to why that happened. We visited a case where a family, virtually an entire family, were killed in their courtyard by one of these drone attacks. They've been hit with an advanced weapon system with extreme accuracy, and to me there's absolutely no excuse whatsoever for this.
قتلوا المقاومة في العملة هاي؟ لا، قتلوا 3 أسر ضيعوه. ما قتلوش مقاومة أو إنهم لا، قتلوا أسرة بريئة مالهاش دعوة.
حرموهم من الحياة، ليش يعني بيحرمونا من الحياة؟ ليش احنا محرم علينا إننا نعيش زي أي دولة تانية؟ ليش محرم علينا إننا نعيش؟
وفي النهاية خلصت الحرب، ايش عملوا؟ ايش صار؟ الوضع كما هو. تغير الشيء؟
The sophistication of this technology is really very impressive, and what it allows you to do is watch scenes, watch individual people with phenomenal detail. You can sit over a target area for many hours on end while your presence is more or less undetected.
The watching is done from a control room similar to this one, usually miles away from the battlefield. Then the button is pressed.
كانت الزنانة فوقينا كانت صوتها يعني كانت على مستوى قريب جدا فوقينا يعني.
Mariam's daughter, Maadha, and niece Fatin were killed on January the 8th whilst trying to seek refuge during the fighting.
ما في حد ولا في أي ناس ولا في حد غير احنا وبينات يعني، لا حملات إشي ولا هي نقابات ولا هي بتتصل تليفون ولا أي حاجة من هذه. بنت صباحها هالكبر كذي والتاني كمان بنت عمي فاتن هالقد كمان، معقدات ولبسات شنطة صغيرة اللي في إيدها وماشي بتمشي قدامي وأنا وراها بتطلع علي بتقول لي هيك تطلع امشي 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 زي هيك.
في الموقع، في نفس هذا الموقع كنت أنا هنا وأختي مآثر وفاتن كانوا قدامينا.
ما نشوف غير منها الصاروخ هيك وهالضربة وهالنار على الأرض تنخبط. حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل.
الصاروخ الساخن على وشي، أثر على وشي، ما قدرتش أتحمل، لفيت وشي هيك وبعدين صرت أجري. لما صرت أجري بدأت أتلفت على موقع الحدث، يعني بدي أشوف مين مات، بدي أشوف مين ضلوا عايش.
يا بناتي يا بناتي قعدت أقول حنتي يا بناتي يا بنات، وأنا قادرة أطلع والناس بيسدوني يقولي تعالي لقيت يضربوا عليكي صاروخ تاني، حينزل عليكي صاروخ تاني من الزنان.
This hole is the telltale signature of an Israeli armed drone. Mariam and her daughter Athea were just 2 meters from the girls when they died.
It can find the target, it can positively identify it, shoot, and then confirm that the right target has been engaged. And it's certainly going on in Gaza and other places where Israel is involved.
Mariam spots an unmanned reconnaissance balloon, and the pair start to panic.
خلاص أرجوك كفاية كذا. خلاص أوز دمنا بخاف، بعرفش أجمع خالص ولا بعرف أفكر.
Mariam is too terrified to continue and hurries back towards her house. Amnesty International uncovered 48 deaths by armed drones during the course of a wider investigation, but they believe there were many more.
Scores of people were killed in these densely populated areas in individual buildings, which were not legitimate military targets. You know, this is almost endemic out there. This isn't just the odd occasion. We were going to scene upon scene upon scene, incident upon incident.
We asked the Israeli army about their use of armed drones on civilians, but they refused to be interviewed.
Israel's armed UAVs, these unmanned aerial vehicles, they've been an open secret in Israeli service for years now. I would imagine that there was, from the beginning, an impetus to keep that secret, simply so that the people that they were out to get with these systems wouldn't know what was coming after them.
The Israeli army also refused to respond to testimonies by Gazan families whose relatives had been killed in drone attacks. Instead, they offered this written statement.
The IDF operated in accordance with the rules of war and did the utmost to minimize harm to civilians uninvolved in combat. The IDF's use of weapons conforms to international law.
Each one of these deaths, including the families of Mariam and Munir, was videoed by the drone that killed them. Every mission is recorded and archived. If Israel wants to refute these allegations of war crimes, it has the evidence to do so.
هيك وصفونا شلحونا لواعي وربطونا واحنا هيك في بعض ربطونا نسمعهم صاروا يطخوا صاروا هذا نقول الخلص.
This is the story of 3 young brothers, Nafiz, Ali and Alaa, and how they were used as human shields in direct contravention of the laws of war. On the 5th of January, the Israeli army forced them from their house at gunpoint. This Israeli army magazine, found in the ruins of a destroyed Gazan home, shows Nafiz, who is 16, along with 3 men, before he says he was stripped to his underpants and bare feet and used as a shield for the soldiers. It would be 8 days before he was allowed to return home. International law forbids the use of civilians as military shields. It is a war crime. These Israeli soldiers were filmed in 2007 in the West Bank. They are seen shielding behind the Palestinian civilian in the black t-shirt as they go on house-to-house searches. The Israeli military have also used children before. Here, in this photograph taken in the West Bank, a boy has been tied to the front of a military jeep. The youngest of the 3 brothers, Alaa, is just 14.
وقفونا على الحيط نزلوا فينا ضرب شلحونا أواعينا حرقونا وحرقوا الجوالات قدام واحنا بنطلع فيه.
Their mother Nisreen watched her sons being taken away.
أنا شفت الشوفة لقيت بطلت أجمع يعني حسيت إن أولادي راحوا بتطلع في الجندي بقول لي أنت حماس بقول له لا أنا مش حماس إحنا مزارعين وأنت جاي تشطر على مزارعين.
The Israeli army was searching for Palestinian fighters.
بعدين بقوا ياخذونا يعني على الدور كضراع بشري إلهم بقوا يخششونا في الدور.
Bound and in only their underwear, the boys were sent into each house to check they were safe for the soldiers to enter.
بقوا ماخديننا معهم وخوفنا المقاومة تطخ عليهم عشان لو طخت عليهم يجي فينا الإطلاق ما يجيش فيه.
خششونا على البيت واحنا مكتفين ومغميين وقعدنا في البيت بيجي ربع ساعة بعدين طلعونا برا وصلبونا على الحيطان وبعد ما صلبونا على الحيطان صاروا يطخوا حوالينا.
The houses were searched one by one, then each was destroyed.
هذا قاعدونا برضه تحتيها قاعدونا قبل ما يقصفوها بقى فيها جيش برضه. لما طلعونا من وراها من غير ودونا على البيت هذاك.
وما كنت عارفة عن ولادي أي حاجة يعني. قعدت 4-5 أيام وأنا بنامش طول الليل. طول الليل بتحضن في الولد الرابع، حسيت خلاص أنا فقدت 3 ماليش إلا هو هذا الرابع. طول الليل وأنا بعبط فيه وبدفي فيه حسيت أنا خلاص فقدت ولادي 3.
After using them to clear the houses, the soldiers then marched the boys to a makeshift Israeli camp. The young prisoners were then forced to kneel in front of a line of tanks to deter Palestinian fighters from attacking the camp.
كانت الدبابة تمشي كانت ورانا، احنا فكرنا ان الدبابة تطلع فوقينا.
يركز على جنبه يقول له اعدل حالك، يخبطوه يقول له اعدل حالك، ما نعرفش ننام بالمرة. بعد يوم ونص حوطوا علينا سلك، وبعد ما حوطوا علينا سلك يعني صارت تقع الشظايا تاعت القذايف علينا، وفي حجر بطوم طار علينا من غاد ووقع حيو عنا هان.
Ali and Alaa were released into their neighborhood.
ولما رجعوا أولادي يعني ما صدقتش، يحضنوا فيه وبوس فيهم. رجعوا لي 2 والثالث ما رجعش. يعني أنا لما أولادي 2 دخلوا علي كمان حسيت إنه الثالث يعني معدوم. إيش اللي صار في الثالث؟ يعني بسأله وين أخوك؟ قاعد الصبي يصيح ما جاوبنيش وين أخوه.
Nafiz and some of the other prisoners had been taken over the border into Israel.
رمونا فوق بعض وخلونا جوا عندهم على المستوطنة، يحققوا معنا، كانوا يحطونا عند المحقق ويضل ايش بدنا حماس وما فيش عنده تفاهم، بيغلط عليك وبيضرب.
Nafiz was later taken back to Gaza and released. Israel's own Supreme Court has ruled against using civilians as shields, declaring that it violates international law. In their defense, the Israeli army has accused Palestinian fighters of using their own people as human shields. But investigations by Amnesty and Human Rights Watch have found no evidence to back up these claims. We asked the Israeli army about their use of human shields in this conflict. They refused to give an interview to The Guardian. Instead, they issued this statement.
Israeli forces were instructed to make no use, for any purpose whatsoever, of the civilian population during the combat, and certainly not as human shields. After an inquiry with the commanders who fought in the area, there is no evidence that such events occurred. Anyone who chooses to accuse the IDF of these acts creates an incorrect and false impression of the IDF and its soldiers, who act ethically and in accord with international law.
International law states that medical workers and ambulance drivers tending to the wounded must not be targeted under any circumstances. To do so is a war crime. In the 23-day attack on Gaza, the Israeli army is accused of ignoring that basic law of war, killing 16 medical workers and wounding a further 22. They also bombed 15 of Gaza's 27 hospitals. In scenes like this one, filmed on January the 7th, the ambulance men can be clearly seen trying to pick up the body of a man lying on the ground. The Israeli army continue to fire on them as they try to run back to their ambulance. One of the medics is hit in the leg. Other paramedics told The Guardian how their ambulances had been directly targeted.
هم حملينه ووصلوا تقريبا وصلوا الإسعاف على القذيفة بتنخبط في الإسعاف.
Israel is a pioneer of precision weapons and a world leader in advanced optics. Their weapons have viewfinders that are so crystal clear that, according to the Israeli military themselves, they can see the color of a target's clothes. So why were 38 medical workers killed or injured by the Israeli forces when they had the technology to see exactly who they were hitting? On January 4th, Ambulance drivers Yasser and Hazim were two of 5 medics called out to an olive grove to collect the wounded.
كان 3:30 من 3:30 العصر.
As they tried to help the injured men, a helicopter gunship opened fire on them.
هذا بعدين صار رش طيارة الهليكوبتر بالرصاص. رصاص هذا كله رصاص. فنطيت اطلع على الشباب، لقيت الشباب مقطعين، اللي هو شبابنا لابسين الستر ومبينين للشمس ومبينين للسماء والارض ومبين الاسعاف ومبين اللواح تبع الاسعاف كله شغال.
The Israeli army uses a sophisticated computer targeting system in their helicopters. It relies on the crew actually being able to see their targets before they open fire. The helicopter was that close, and yet it killed 3 medics wearing bright orange vests in the middle of the day.
فشردنا، فكان وهو بيجري الاسعاف كان برضه ضرب متواصل وراء الطواقم الطبيه، يعني استهداف مباشر للطواقم الطبيه، انه الطواقم الطبيه في جميع انحاء العالم هي غير مستهدفه من ناحيه عسكريه، تحترم في اي مكان تكون موجوده فيه.
These men, veteran medics, are still in shock.
طير راح هيك وراح هيك وراح هيك، كمان صاروخ اجى هنا واحنا كمان جينا كمان صاروخ غاد. وجهه واحد من المسافين لقيناه على الشقه هذيك طاير. باقي الصاروخ اللي ضربوا فيه شباب الاسعاف هذا نزلوه على شباب الاسعاف اللي جايين ينقذوا الناس الابرياء، الناس الغلابه. طلع يعني زمايلنا باي حق يقتلوا، هم مبينين انهم ما هم مش مسلحين ولا هم يعني بيشتغلوا لا في مقاومه ولا في اي شغله، جايين يسعفوا ناس، نروح بدون شبابنا يعني. الله يرحمهم.
For 2 days, the crew tried repeatedly to collect their colleagues' remains, but each time they came under fire from Israeli forces. It's not just ambulance crews that have been targeted by the Israeli military. During the assault on Gaza, Israeli forces bombed over half of Gaza's hospitals, 15 in all, and damaged a further 44 clinics, destroying 2 of them completely. The Israeli military had been given all the coordinates of these hospitals and clinics by the UN, yet somehow they managed to hit 59 medical facilities. Did one of the world's most sophisticated armies get it wrong 59 times? Or did they not care who they hit in their search for Palestinian rocket launchers and fighters? Again, the laws of war state that the response must be proportionate to the threat. Dr. Mahmoud works in Al-Quds hospital. He was there when it was shelled with white phosphorus, a toxic chemical that burns through anything it touches. On an average day, there are 30 children in this nursery.
I was in a theater. I am a plastic surgeon in the plastic surgery unit. One shot, fire. When we finished the operation, we go out to the road and we look we see the fire here. Broken down from all the building here. F-60, Apache, all around us.
The 300 people in the hospital, including the critically ill, were forced to flee on foot while still coming under attack.
We walk because we don't know what happened after. Maybe we think maybe all of the building was on fire, and we thought we walk all the street.
The Israeli army says it has now launched an extensive investigation into its conduct during the offensive and is looking into allegations that hospitals were targeted. In the past, Israel has accused Palestinian fighters of hijacking ambulances and taking refuge in hospitals. But international law is clear. Hospitals and medical staff may not be targeted unless they themselves are directly involved in the fighting. On January 4th, the same day as the helicopter attack in the olive grove, a second ambulance crew was hit. This time they were shelled by a tank.
هذا القذيفة المسمارية اللي قتلت عرفة عبد الدايم الله يرحمه استشهد منه.
Khalid and his 2 colleagues, Arafat and Alaa, were responding to 5 civilians critically injured by an Israeli tank shell.
الحين أنا شايفهم جايبين مصاب رجليه 2 مضروبات متهتكات نهائي، هم حملينه ووصلوا تقريبا وصلوا الإسعاف، أنا القذيفة بتنخبط في الإسعاف، أنا برجع بقيت حاط إيدي على الباب بدي أنزل أحمل معهم، شفت حالي برا الإسعاف أنا، فأنا بتطلع في حالي هيك بتفقد في حالي لقيت حالي كويس، حطيت على راسي لقيت فيه دم. قلت أنا مدام بجري وبمشي بهمش يعني دم.
The ambulance had been hit by a tank shell packed with 8,000 tiny nails called flechettes. Arafa's body was filled with these nails.
جراي لقيت عرفة قاعد هيك وقول أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله رافع يديه. لقوا الكبد تبعه مليان مسامير زي هدول. الشاب اللي كانوا جايبينه لقيته متقطع بدون راس، كان رجليه تنتين وراسه راح. فأنا صرت يعني ارتبكت ما عرفتش ايش اسوي، صرت أجري من هان لهان لهان.
He raised the alarm, but the first ambulance workers on the scene turned back, fearing they too would be targeted.
طبعا أنا بنساهمش لحتى اللحظة، عمري ما بنساهم ولا عمري حنساهم. يعني ال24 ساعة دائما في بالي، ال24 ساعة.
With a total of 38 medics killed or injured, and 59 hospitals or medical clinics hit, some completely destroyed, we asked the Israeli army why this was necessary. They declined our request for an on-camera interview, but provided us with this written statement.
The IDF does not target medics or other medical staff. As a part of their training, IDF soldiers receive instructions on identifying and avoiding injury to medical staff on the battlefield. However, in light of the difficult reality of warfare in the Gaza Strip, carried out in urban and densely populated areas, medics who operate in the area take the risk upon themselves.